I'm an industrial and organizational psychologist, and the work that I do focuses on organizational culture and innovation. And I specifically deal with employee productivity, retention, and workforce engagement. From my perspective, I'm a master manipulator. I have a PhD in industrial and organizational psychology, a master's degree in psychology. I know how people work. I know how dyads work, the dyad relationship between one person and another. And I am really good at controlling conversations and where they go and making people think what I want them to think as I'm talking to them, which makes most coaches quite ineffective for me. Because if there's a dark room that I don't want to go and see, it's really easy for me to distract many people and not actually exploring that room. What sets you apart from probably the 5 or 6 coaches that I've worked with before is you do not let me distract you. When we set the intent for the coaching engagement as a whole, and then for each individual coaching session, you stay focused on what we're supposed to be coaching about and hold me accountable to what I said that I wanted to be coached on. And it's a skill and a talent, and you do it very well, better than anyone that I've seen in the coaching field, which will guaranteed produce better results for your clients. I describe coaching as a process for me. It's a process of discovering what's hidden, discovering the things that you know, and they're just beneath the surface of your conscious. Like, I should know what to do, and I kind of know what to do, but I'm not able to articulate what it is that I want to do. It's a way to accelerate my personal and professional goals. One of the things that I've always struggled with was motivation. Answering the larger question of why are we here and why am I going through all of this effort? And so in working with you, I was able to really dig into the subconscious levels of motivation that I wasn't able to access or even accept that's what that these things that didn't seem particularly important in the real world were actually what drove me and motivated me to take action in my life. With the coaching engagement that we've shared, and the specific questions that you've asked, I was able to explore some different areas of my thoughts that I didn't recognize were there. And so that's sort of how it helped me, is being able to access previously hidden areas of my consciousness. The questions are challenging. Often they seem silly. The shift between a silly, stupid question to a meaningful and profound question is really, in the context of our coaching engagement, was really my ability and my willingness to actually and honestly ask myself the questions that you asked me, and just leave aside all of the judgment and say, okay, so what if? Let me think about that. What if? And I'm going to think about it, and let's come up with an answer. We started with spirituality, and then we went from spirituality to emotion to hardcore business, and you made that transition very well. So you're versatile, and I appreciate your versatility in coaching, willing to explore different areas, the different areas that are important to me. So thank you for that. It's a really nice analogy of the interconnected nature of individuals, and that we all have our space, and we're playing and interacting with other people, and everyone else has their space. And so it's a great analogy for creating physical, emotional, and spiritual boundaries so that you can stay in your power and other people can stay in their power. A lot of times I don't have the vocabulary to put on a feeling. Maybe it's a new feeling, maybe it's a new emotion, something that I hadn't been willing to look at before. But when I can define like what motivates me, as I define it as a beautiful coral reef with schools of fish and the different corals and all of the life abound in there, and the serenity of scuba diving in a tropical coral garden. It's a palpable experience of a motivating a driving force for me. It's being in that and experiencing that. So visualization gives me access to describe what the feeling's like without necessarily being able to name it initially, which is very powerful, because if I can't name something, define something, then I tend to ignore it and I tend to push it aside. The image is enough that I can move forward and use that to drive the projects that I'm doing. I would recommend coaching to anyone that wants to live their life as powerfully as they can. It seems like it. Before you open a door with a room with no light on it, it's always very dark. But typically what I've found is once I open the door and I let light in, then you find the light switch and you're treated to a potentially very beautiful side of yourself that you hadn't seen before and didn't have access to before.